What's up, guys? Dope Randy back at it again with another race in the Sofa Racing League. And this time, we're going to go to a track we haven't been to in a long time. A track that I have never been to in this league. And a track that is hated by many, loved by only a few, and I would be one that likes it. As we're going to New Hampshire, ladies and gentlemen, for the first time in a long time. First time since season 2, ladies and gentlemen, that this has been on the schedule. And so excited to have it back on the schedule, as you can see, for the qualifying race. Now, you're going to notice I pretty much winged this race. No practice, no setup. Basically just a straight up wing job. Will it work? Will it not? We'll see how it goes. As we're going to be we're going to be 3 wide in the qualifying race. As I'm just trying to get a feel for how the track is going to treat us tonight, as we are going to go 3 wide, and I'm just going to pass both Spank and Dunn, no problem. As we got only 4 laps to get a good run of, and here comes Spank, just throwing it in there like a dart on a board at 2 o'clock in the morning when you're drunk and at the local sports board, but that's not the point. For the second time, he's going to throw it in there. But unlike a bullseye, he's going to land his target, and goodbye goes the 10, as we have 3 laps to go. And like I said, I'm just trying to get a feel for what I want to do. I think New Hampshire this might be a crazy opinion, but I believe that actually New Hampshire was a huge version of Martinsville, with the only difference being you can make the high side work to a degree. And I say that because both in Martinsville and New Hampshire, they're both flat. Not much banking. You have to rely on getting the power down and have to rely on having a good turn. And as you see, I ran a pretty good lap here with a 30.463, as this is the final lap in this race. And I'm kind of pulling away from everybody and catching the 2 leaders in front, which is a good sign. I get a great turn 3 right here, and we're going to come away with a 44, 200ths faster than the previous lap, and that felt pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. Except for a couple of times in traffic where we just got loose for a second. Everything worked great, felt great. Had some confidence going into this thing all of a sudden, that maybe we can do something productive. We are still 10 points behind Major Spy for the overall point for the regular season points championship, which I would like to capture. That would be great. Get those 15 extra playoff points, which could matter in the long run. As we wait to see what we come up with. If you like what you see, hit the thumbs up, subscribe for more videos just like this, and comment down below to interact. I'm thinking about starting a new idea in the future, so stay tuned for that. So as you can see here, we got a nice P3 with that 44, and now the pole sitter happens to be Mr. Spank with a 24. Did pit road influence that? Maybe, maybe not. It probably didn't. He says he didn't. We're gonna go with his word, but it's whatevs. It's just starting position. So I'm starting third. Major starting second. I'm in a pretty good situation at the moment, I feel like. Cause in my dream scenario, Spank, who by 4 is gonna throw it in the turn 1 and hope it sticks. The dream would be for him to use Major Spy like a brake, like a moving chicane, and I can get around both of them, as those two continue to beat and bang each other and hold up everybody else. Will that happen for our Kleenex Chevy Camaro? Well, there's a reason there's a video. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. We'll just have to wait and find out in the Foxwoods Resort and Casino 301. As for the 12th race of the season, we are live, baby. With the green flag is out, and here we go. So does that dream happen? No, not at all. Spank, his most conservative turn 1, is gonna get up, but he does hit Major coming out of that turn, and we are Gucci. We are side by side, but I just play it really conservative. But it will help us because I will get that power down the front straight, as Spank will lead lap numero uno. And I'm just trying to be real conservative. I feel like at this point I've choked it, lost talent, as there goes the points leader, Major Spy, looking like a badass as he doesn't hit the fence, and I'm gonna get that run, but he's gonna have the ultimate run down the front straight, and I'm just gonna fall back in line to P3. And so at this point, without running any laps here, I feel like I just have to get a feel for what I was trying to do, because as you can see, I haven't ran 3 good laps back to back yet. As I pull the crossover, the killer crossover on TG, but I pound the fence, lose all talent possible, and definitely gonna lose 1 spot. I'm gonna try to do the crossover. We are 3 wide. I'm not letting out of the gas. None of us are letting out of the gas. And so we work that out, and then Sharp just gets into us a little bit, but it's all Gucci. No one. And then we got butt lag from the 22, which takes out, which separates the field for like a second, and then here comes Marcus, who's having a great season up to this point, a very good, successful season in the top 6 early in this race. See if he can have a good run as he punches Sharp out of the way, and he is in the top 5. And I mean, good shit to him. He has been doing great this season. And yeah, hopefully he can keep this up throughout the race and maybe throughout the entire season. As me and TG are pulling away from the 14. I say that, but then here he comes, but we're going to get that good run down the back straight. And we're just going to leave him in the dust. As I'm just trying to get that rhythm, see where I can go. Like I said earlier, I feel like this is a Martinsville type of track. And in Martinsville, you want to get as low as you can go. And that's what I want to do here. I want to get low. Because I feel like low can make up your time. As you can see, I'm going low. And I have caught TG for 3rd place. As we only have 9 laps to go in this stage. The first stage. As we're just biding time now. Waiting for him to make a mistake just like that. As we're going to go under him. Under the good kind soul of TG. Use the bottom of the trap and get that power down. A little bit of a slide job, but it's all good. And I'm going to move into 3rd place with 8 laps to go. As long as nothing happens, I feel like I can... I mean, the move now is to see if we can catch 1st and 2nd. Maybe we can, maybe we can't, but we ought to see. As those two are killing each other up there. As Spank kills the wall. And it's going to allow me to reel in these two a little bit. As at this point I have Matt's confidence in myself and in my Kleenex Chevy Camaro. As Spank and Major are just fighting and clawing and scratching. And it's making me... It's going to make me join this battle as they make contact and into the fence. And then Major with the crossover failed. And then Spank with the huge block. And then Major gets sideways and all sorts of misfit. As we have now caught up to him all of a sudden. I now have 7 tenths and I've got 5 laps to go. And this is a golden scenario for your boy. As I'm going to try to look under Major for P2. We make contact. He hits the fence. We get in. But it's all good. It's all good. And I'm going to get under him. But he's going to do the crossover. And then we're going to make a little bit of contact. And it's all good. I'm back to 3rd. Now TG, all of a sudden, has caught up to us. Which is not okay. Because I want my 3rd place in this stage. And I just completely choked on 3. But I try and fight and claw and scratch. As we only got 3 laps to go. As TG is going to throw it to the bottom, I'm going to throw it to the middle. But I pound the fence. And that just killed it. And then here comes Sharp in the 22. And now I'm going to lose 4th. As I try to get the run. But I get hit with the butt lag. And then here comes Hunty. So in the span of 1 lap we go from 3rd to 6th. And that is just unlucky. Really unlucky. And there's just nothing you can do about that. You just have to move on. Go to the next lap and see what you can do. I feel like I'm pretty good in comparison. As we got one lap to go in stage 1. Presented by Coca-Cola. Hashtag cheap plug. We do have a little bit of discombobulation. Maybe I can make something happen here and get a couple of spots. As I'm just going to follow Hunty down onto the bottom. And TG. And I'm going to get Hunty. But then here comes TG. Pow, pow, pow. And we're 3 wide. And we're all crashing and all hell. But I get 5th. In one of the craziest finishes you'll ever see. We were 3 wide. We were all crashing. But it's okay. None of us went sideways. None of us were permanently damaged. So it's a GG. Wins to everyone in that battle. Good shit, TG. Good shit, Hunty. Spank does win the stage. After some good, aggressive racing between Major Spy. And we're going to restart in P5 for stage 2. Now, I said earlier I'm winging this thing. This setup I put in, I have never done this setup at this track, and if it fails, it's going to be bad, but if it does great, I'm golden. So this first turn, I'm going to put all my faith into this. Oh, it's going to be one of those stages, huh? As I am wrecking loose, complete wrecking loose, which is the last thing you want at a track where at a track where you have to turn to pretty much get your success. As I'm just getting all hit as all hell. As I'm banging off Cambo in the 51, and I'm just gonna go ahead into a nice power slide. Make sure no one hits me, and I'm just gonna try to get a drive off. And that felt pretty good. As we got 14 laps to not spin. And I mean, that felt pretty good. I mean, it's just if we can limit the power slide, I feel like we have something. As Hunty and Sharp get all messed up, I'm just going to drive around both of them. Like they're just standing still. And then I get hit with the power slide. So 4th place with this piece of crap Chevy Camaro, as that was really bad. Really bad setup. And at this point, I would like a 4th place. I'm just searching right now to see A, where can I go that won't let me spin, and B, don't do that. But somehow we're keeping speed in this thing to the point where I can hold off Hunty and Sharp and everybody else, which I'm amazed. And I'm still within striking distance of Spank, which is kind of surprising. Because, I mean, You can see if I touch that, well, there goes that. As I get put into the fence. But I mean, you can tell if I hit the brakes, this thing is spinning out, and you just have to do a light job touching the brake and letting the car coast. It's that perfect balance that no one seems to get, and if you do, you're the next Richard Petty. So as you can see, I'm falling back to 5th. I'm gonna not hit the wall, and now we're gonna go 3 wide with this piece of crap, and I'm just gonna let Hunty wash himself up the track, and we're gonna go 3 wide, not, as I get the good run off the corner. That is one thing about this setup though, I get the good as, again, another power slide, and that's gonna allow Dunn and T-Mills, Mr. Where did he come from, to get around us as we now fall back to P7. Which is not fun. But then T-Mills slides up the track and hits the fence, loses talent, and I'm gonna get back a top 5, psych, as I get loose, hit T-Mill in the door, but it's all good, as we don't crash, and I'm just gonna keep my foot in it, and I get my top 5 back, with 7 laps to go in this stage. As another power slide, you'd think this would be the Global Rallycross Tour, with how many drifts I'm doing in these turns. As T-Mills and I are side by side for 5th. And then, rest in peace to that wall. And T-Mills is going to get that spot back. And then I just completely sold turn 1 into oblivion and hit the fence, and it's all heck, as Dunn is now pressuring me from the back as I do another power slide, but I'm gonna get that big run as I get all loose as all hell with 5 laps to go. That's another power slide. The straightest power slide you'll ever see happens. And then Dunn tries to cut up the side draft. But that's not going to work, young fella. As I do another power slide. And he tries to hit the side draft again, but I'm like, no, soul. And he actually loses a spot because of that aggressiveness. As we only have 4 laps to go, another power slide, and I'm in the fence. The worst power slide we've had up to this point. And so, at this point, I'm just trying to protect and hold. As Dunn is going to get a nose under me, but I get the run and try to cut him off, and I do. And then we make contact going into turn 1. As I try to get this run off the high side, and I hit the fence, lose talent. He finally comes beside of me. And as I do another power slide, Hunty better not hit me, and he doesn't. And at this point, Dunn is finally around me. As we have 2 laps to go. As I get hit with another power slide. As I think that's Marcus up there battling Hunty for 8th place. When's the last time I've said that? That's a good run for him. As I get hit with another power slide. God, so many power slides. As we have 1 lap to go, sponsored by Goodyear. Hashtag cheap plug. As a 7th place will probably suffice, unless they just straight up, unless I get spun by myself or whatever. As then we have a lap call that oh no. As the 31 just crashes in turn 3 and takes out Dunn and loses all of his stage points as he falls back to P11. And you just gotta feel bad for the guy. He was 6th, gonna get a good amount of stage points. Points he desperately needs if he wants to make the chase. And then whoever that was said nope. And I reap the benefits. 1 point, which can matter a whole lot in the long run. 6th for stage 2. And I do get the outside lane, which has been the preferred line all day long because of that run you get off of turn 1. As we have 36 laps to the finish, and I'm in this middle line. And as you can see, I have definitely tightened the Kleenex Chevy up tremendously. I think I tightened it up 40%. As I'm just oh my goodness, as we have malicious warfare between Sharp, Spank, and T-Mills, and I'm just gonna get around 2 of them. As at this point, I'm just trying to shoot my shot and absolutely fail, as Sharp is gonna get around me, and then T-Mills is gonna get beside of us here for P5. But I'm going to get that run off the high side, as we're going killing each other back heel. As we finally do a power slide, but it's nothing like we had dealt with before. And so at this point, I'm in 5th. The gap from me to T-Mills or Hunty in 6th is increasing exponentially because those two are side by side. It's gotten to the point now you can't even see them in the mirror. But on the other hand, we got a nice battle between Spank and Sharp, in which Sharp, like, Spank's driving, like, his line was so scary around other people. Like, take Sharp for an example. He was faster than Spank this whole entire race. But these two are having a good battle because Sharp is so worried about Spank just plowing it into turn 1 like so, as he plows it into turn 1 like a mat truck in the cornfield. And he is in the preferred racing line that everyone else does, so if Spank's behind you, you're gonna get punted. And so you have to drive differently around them. As you can see, I have kind of tagged along with this group. For 3rd, 4th, and 5th. As the gap between me and 6th is up to a 2.5 seconds. As I try to peek under Sharp, but that's not gonna work. Or yes, it will, as he lets me go on purpose and lets me deal with Mr. Spank, Mr. Aggressive, Mr. Steak. As I do, but you cannot hit the fence on the straightaway if you want to pass people in a race. But I felt like I had a great long run setup in this thing. Really wasn't meant for the short run, as I get hit with a power slide, which causes Sharp to get all messed up. And so at this point, and I'd say that power slide back in turn 1 was a huge pivotal point for me, because at that point the core just decided to be evil. And I mean evil in every way possible, as here comes Sharp back on the inside, and I'm just gonna try to fight the good fight as I try to hit him with the crossover. And we're gonna be side by side, but he's gonna have to power down. As of this point, I realized that I wasn't probably going to pass these two. Excuse me. But I felt like I was faster than 6th and 7th. So from here on out, my plan was to A, get a top 5, and B, try to maintain a gap like this to the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd, as I think first, which is Major Spy, is off into the distance. As I do a complete hideous turn 3, and lose multiple tenths. And so at this point, I'm just thinking, well, you know, we've got 23 laps to go. I've got 2 seconds on T-Mills, who hasn't been the best all day. Now it's 2.5. I've got a 1.5 to catch up to Sharp and Spank, who are having a hellacious battle for 3rd place, which I would love to be a part of, but my core is absolute and utter trash. So that's not a possibility, as they finally get side by side. But Spank in his Matt Truck ways is going to allow him to be in 3rd, but he'll come Sharp on the inside. And then as Spank hits the fence, remains on the outside, but Sharp finally clears him with 21 laps to go. As I'm just watching this battle, as Spank kills the fence, and that's finally going to allow Sharp to create the separation he needs until Spank hit him with that great run in turn 3, as he's just gonna throw it down under him. And I'll be damned if it's stuck, 'cause it did. Somehow it did. And so he's going to try it again. They make contact. And by the way, that is second place up there, ladies and gentlemen. That black and yellow number 19, as they have caught him, of TG. As Spank is going to throw it down in there again. And this is a BCS for me. A best case scenario. As the gap is closing. And then they both come down pit road at that point. With 18 laps to go. And then we're back to the power slide at the tail end of this run. The fairy tail end. And so at this point I decide to say forget it. It's not worth it, and I'm coming down. Just like everybody else is. And so, for this final run, I feel like unless someone in the back, unless someone from 6th on back takes 2, or becomes the next Jeff Bolton at New Hampshire. And I say that because he has won the most races here of all time. I should get a top 5. As Sharp has passed Spank and TG. And the gap between me, TG, those 3 have increased to a depressing point. To the point where I probably can't get to them. As Hunty has now separated himself from that hellacious battle for 6th place. A Team Randy driver. Hashtag best team on the planet. And, he's had a bad point stay in regards to trying to catch me. As he was 3rd in points coming into this race. I get 20 to 25 points out. I gained on him in both stage 1 and stage 2. And so if he beats me right here, it won't be enough for the overall day, but it'll give him some confidence going into the next race. Which, by the way, huge announcement, I will be live streaming that race. It is the 3rd crown jewel race of the season from a track that I think is very special to me at the Kentucky Motor Speedway. No, at Kentucky Speedway. The site of my first Cup win in the Silver Racing League. Maybe we can go back to back, I don't know. You'll have to tune in Monday at 9:10, 9:15ish. Yeah, Monday at 9:10 on my channel, Dope Randy. Subscribe it, love it. And then, people who won't get presents is Hughes, as he just straight up just puts us in the fence, the inside wall. I'm sure he didn't mean it, but it came at the worst possible time, as hunting is now closed in. But then, oh man, as then Hunty just gets taken out ice cold by Hughes, and that immediate threat of 7/10 immediately goes up to 2.7, and all of a sudden I have that buffle again, and that buffle feels great. As we only have 10 laps to go, he would have to get 2/10 a lap on us, which, knowing me, is possible. But then Hunty loses talent and hits something. As at this point, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, they're gone. It's a GG. The only person who could get me is Hunty. As I do get him by 1/10 that lap. And so now I have to be 3/10 a lap to be on my back bumper coming to the checkered flag. As I nail that turn. And at this point, we're just trying to play even Steven with Hunty. Because if we do that, then we get it. But as you'll notice, each lap we gain, slowly but surely, as that time he just completely lost talent and hit the fence. And the gap is now up to 3.3 seconds. As I lose talent and hit the fence. As I think we're on a dirt track, but we are not. This is concrete. And so, with 3 seconds ahead and 3 seconds behind, with only 8 or 7 laps to go, as I literally lose talent and hit the wall on a straightaway. I mean, goodness gracious. This race has just been a complete cluster, as we have 6 laps to go. Just get to the finish line, get the top 5, and get out of here unscathed. Pow. As my voice continues to crack. But the deficit between me and Hunty is kind of stabilized around 3 to 3.5 seconds. Which is fine. It's fine with me. As we got 5 laps to go. And now we just gotta ride off into the New Hampshire sunset and get a top 5. The only way this could be messed up is if I literally spin out. Or something stupid like that. Or if a lapper just decides to end my life. As Hunty did close the gap by 2/10, but he needs to close in a lot more if he wants to catch us. As I gain all of it back in that one corner. As we got 3 laps to go. And I think we are now pretty safe from Hunty. As now he has to deal with T-Mills. But I mean, you could probably see first, second, third, and 4th, and 5th were all spread out by margins. Like 5th to 4th is 3.6. 3rd to 4th was like 2.5. 2nd to 3rd was like 2 to 3. And then 4th was in another zip code. As Hunty has now caught has been caught by T-Mills. As we're coming to one lap to go, it's presented by Credit One Bank, hashtag cheap plug. The only battle on the track is going to be T-Mills and Hunty for P6, as Hunty has been passed by T-Mills. As his team owner, I call BS on that all day of the week, as Major Spy dominates this race and officially wins. And we're going to take it home in P5, which I would take. I would take that. And T-Mills ends up getting around Hunty for 6th place, as the top 5 pretty much stayed the same for the entire third stage. But I mean, it really wasn't the most. The first 2.5 stages were pretty lit. But once the cycles came around, once that final pit stop happened, and the entire top 5 spread out, it was pretty much just maintaining gaps. But sometimes that's what you have to do. And for winging it, a top 5 is sufficient. Now, I did lose gap a lot. Like, the gap between me and Major is now up to like 28, 21, 22 points. But we got a double points race next week at Kentucky, which is going to be a live stream. I'm not worried about it. I can get them. But that's it for now. I'll talk to y'all later. Subscribe if you want to see more. Like and comment. And peace out.